Okay, so it's come to that time of week again. So I just want to do a quick recap of week 14 of my training program. That would be week 8 of my hypertrophy training phase. It was a pretty good week, has to be said. Now, where shall I start? I'll start with what routines I did during the week. So this is the week commencing the 9th of June through to the 15th of June. So I took a rest day on that Monday. It was a much needed rest day. That was full rest, not active rest at all. I didn't get my steps in that day, and I did no actual resistance routines or anything like that. Tuesday I did abs. Wednesday I did shoulders. Thursday I did forearms and triceps. I took an active rest day on Friday the 13th. I thought I'd better not tempt fate. It'd be just my luck to get injured on that date. And fortunately it coincided with a much needed active rest day. On the Saturday I did back and biceps, and on the Sunday I did chest. Good results on all the routines. Strength is continuing to go up, which is fantastic. My walking steps for the week, as I said, I didn't hit my steps on the Monday, but I certainly made up for it on the Tuesday. But over the course of the week, I did just over 74,000 steps, which is sort of where I wanted it to be, there or thereabouts. I wanted to get the 70,000 steps to average 10,000 a day across the week. I want to be sticking to that sort of continuously. It's essential. Well, it's essential really in order to keep me mobile, because if I don't do the walking and I'm sitting around a lot, then I just get completely restricted through my lower back, which is the issue that kept me out of training for many years. So since discovering that walking, an average of 10,000 steps a day keeps me loose, it got rid of all my nerve pain, and has enabled me to get up every single morning and stand tall, where I can actually bring my hip flexors through and I can stand into an upright position without being hunched over like a 80-year-old with arthritis. That is definitely something that I want to be maintaining. But I don't want to be going too far above that at the moment, because I'm on a weight gain, and I've noticed that if I do a lot more steps, then I find it hard to add weight. And at the moment, my goal is to get to around 85 kilos before I enter the muscle endurance phase and my sort of shredding phase, really, my fat loss phase, which will begin as of this Monday coming. So as of the 23rd, I believe it is, the 23rd of June, that's when I'm going to start tapering the diet in, getting rid of starchy carbs, and really focusing on eating a lot more fibrous carbohydrates and a very high protein intake. I will have fats in the diet, but again, I'll try and moderate the amount of fat I have, because after all, I am trying to burn a lot of excess fat on my body, and I only have about 5.5 weeks to do it before I go on holiday. So we've really got to sort of stay dialed in. But at that time, I can start to increase the walking and the steps, but not until I've got to my target level. This is the final week now. We're on the 17th of June as I speak. And this will be the final week of hypertrophy, some muscle building, and the final week of weight gain. So my active weight gain program. So anyway, yes, during the week I did 74,000 steps, which, okay, that was fine. Got my average of 10,000 steps and didn't go significantly above it. In terms of my water intake for the week, I averaged 3.89 litres a day, each day across the week. So in total over the week, it was 27.25 litres. So yeah, it just averages to just under 3.9 litres a day, which again is not bad. it's pretty close to the 4 litres a day. So I was happy with that, staying, relatively consistent. My nutrition goals, I averaged, in terms of my protein intake, I averaged 223 grams of protein a day across the week. So I think in total I had 1,562 grams of protein in the week. And so that averaged to about 223 grams per day. Obviously, some of those days were above, some of them were a little bit below, but none of the days were less than 200 grams. So that was the sort of consistent amount. And I was generally getting that through 2 protein shakes and 3 full meals, balanced meals as well, healthy carbohydrates, whether it came from, healthy starchy carbohydrates, whether it came from rice or potatoes, lots of vegetables, clean bits of meat, so your salmon, chicken, beef, whatever. And that's basically what I was doing each and every day. Snacks were, again, bananas for pre-workouts. I did probably have a couple of dodgy little snacks in there during the week, and I went out for a meal as well on Father's Day, so there was a bit of gluttony there. I did have a dessert there. I'm not really a dessert person most of the time, but I did have a dessert, so shame on me. But I won't worry too much about that, given the fact I am trying to put on weight anyway. Obviously, I'm trying to put on healthy weight, and the sort of dessert I had was not exactly healthy. Excuse me. But yeah, hit all the targets in terms of the nutrition intake. Minimum 5 meals every day. Obviously, that includes the protein shakes. And on a couple of the days, I think I had six sort of innings, as it were. So that was good. And then I guess we need to get to the all-important talking point of what my weekly weight was. So I did my weekly weigh-in on Monday the 16th, so that was yesterday. And last week I had lost 0.4 kilos when I came to weigh myself on the 9th of June, Monday the 9th of June. So I'd gone from 84 the week prior to that down to 83.6. And so now I was weighing myself yesterday, and I was very surprised, and I was pretty happy. So I added 2 kilos last week. So my weigh-in was 85.6 kilograms. And I started off weighing myself on the 17th of March, and I weighed 75.9 kilograms. And at that point, I sort of set a bit of a goal that if I can get myself to 85 kilos prior to a sort of cutting phase where I try and strip a bit of fat off, then that would be good. So to have hit 85.6 kilos on Monday, so that's a week ahead of schedule, really. I know I've got until August, but I don't want to be doing weight gain all the way up to that. I want to have, 5.5 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that, to do a bit of a shredding phase, because typically when you start changing things in your diet, often it can take 30 days for your body to really start getting to grips with converting the fats on your body and using them for energy. Certainly it will start to do it with the right sort of stimulus, but it will become far more efficient at doing it the longer you keep it in that state. So in a carb depleted state, and the longer you leave your body in that type of state with low sugars as part of your daily nutrition, then the more efficient it becomes at converting the fats into energy and using them as energy. Typically 30 days is something I like to give it. So if I've got more than 30 days, then you can definitely make some significant changes as long as you stick to the goals and you don't cheat. So that'll be important. I'm sure there'll be enough cheating when I'm on holiday, and I've got 2 weeks of holidays coming up. So yeah, I'm sure I can stay pretty strict for 5.5 weeks, which is essentially what I've got when next week begins. So, yeah, goal has been achieved so far. Now, I did say that I wouldn't stop at 85 if I hit 85 early. I will still continue to try and add weight this week, um, and we'll see how that goes. If I can get any more weight on me, that's great. And I keep throwing this term out, weight. Any type of weight is not what I'm looking for. I am still eating pretty clean. I know I've increased the amount of starchy carbohydrates that I'm having, but they are still from healthy sources of starchy carbohydrates. And everything else, would fall within a healthy diet. Lots of fibrous vegetables. I'm getting my fruits typically all in the morning as part of I have a superfood sort of fruit shake that I make up for breakfast every day, and it has blueberries, raspberries, pineapple, goji berries. I stick 8 different types of superfood powders in there, 4 different types of seeds, coconut oil. I fill it all up with water. I put a little bit of creatine in there, a little bit of glutamine in there, and I blend it all up. And that's my breakfast every single day for these, 13, 14 weeks. For these 14 weeks, that has been my breakfast every single day. So all those sugars that I'm getting first thing in the morning. So my body has the whole day to sort of use up that energy and burn off those sugars. And the only other fruit type sugars that I'm getting in during the day is a banana. And I often train relatively late in the day, but I'll have a banana. 20 minutes later, I'll get onto my max trainer. I'll do 10 minutes of pretty intense work on the max trainer to warm my body up, and then I'll go and do 45 minutes to an hour of lifting weights on whatever body part it is that I'm working. So that sugar is getting burnt up as well. So none of that is going to be getting, stored as fat on my body, which is a good thing. So yeah, if I can add more functional weight over this next week, fantastic. But after that, I'm anticipating that my weight will drop. I might try and start eating consistently, maybe 6 times a day, because I'm not going to have the starchy carbohydrates. Or dependent on, where my weight goes, maybe I will introduce a few of them. I don't know. Certainly for the first week or two, I will monitor it. I will cut the starchy carbs out, and we'll see what the numbers are saying when I get on the scales on a Monday morning. After a week of essentially cutting the rice out, cutting the potatoes out, I don't really have simple sugars anyway. And I will still have lots of vegetables, but vegetables are fibrous carbohydrates, so that should be okay, because like the fiber cancels out the sugars. I think that's how it ultimately works. So if I wanted to get my body into ketosis, I don't really need to worry too much about the sugars in vegetables. What I need to worry about is the difference in number between the carbohydrates and the fiber. And so if there's more carbohydrates than fiber, you minus the fiber grams from the carbohydrate grams, and that would give you the true amount of carbohydrate grams that you have in that vegetable. And if the fibrous number is more than the carbohydrate number, then you don't need to worry about it at all, because essentially it doesn't count at all towards sugars in your diet. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, putting my body into ketosis was something I was thinking about, but I'm not sure it's necessary, really. I think I can strip down quite a lot of fat just by making those small alterations in my diet. No rice, no potatoes. I might even increase the amount of protein that I'm having. So maybe I put the protein up to, I don't know, maybe I have 3 protein shakes in a day, because eating another 50 grams of protein is just going to add quite a lot onto my food bill. And so I'll probably do it in a more cost-effective manner, should I say. And maybe that's what I do. Maybe I have 3 protein shakes instead of 2. I still have 3 meals, maybe 4. I keep it lots of vegetables. I get rid of any of the starchy carbs, and I just have a clean piece of meat or a couple of bits of meat, um, and that type of thing. I may well stick with my breakfast shake, so that would have, sugars in it because it's coming from the fruits. But again, there's going to be a lot of fibre in that as well. So I don't think it's going to be too counterproductive. And I do still want to be able to, I'm going to be working in a muscle endurance phase next week. And that's going to it's going to be a very demanding week from the point of view of energy requirements. Well, it's going to be a very demanding 5.5 weeks because I'll be doing a lot of interval training. I'll be doing a lot of high rep, short rest period, intense workouts, hitting all the various parts of the body, but in that fashion. So it's going to require fuel for those workouts. So if I go completely sort of carb free, sugar free, while yes, it will strip fat off my body, I don't think I would be able to approach those workouts with the same. Well, I know I wouldn't be able to approach those workouts with the same level of intensity that I would be able to if I just had a few sugars in my system. So again, it's something I need to sort of monitor as I go. But the key thing to start off with is cut out the starchy carbohydrates. That's what I'll be doing, and obviously I'll have to monitor my hunger levels. I don't want to be going hungry. I still want to be eating regularly, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. But my aim is to try and go on holiday as close to this 85 kilo mark as possible. I would rather not lose 5 kilos over the next 5.5 weeks if I can help it. I will continue drinking a lot of water. I will continue eating a lot of food, and we'll see how the change in approach to exercise, then what sort of effect that will have on my weight, because I want to maintain as much lean muscle mass as possible. And if I can maintain all the lean muscle mass that I've currently added, that's going to be perfect. And if the weight that I lose, if it could only be from the additional fat stored on my body, that is going to be bonza. That's what we want. Is it achievable? Anything's possible, but time will tell. It all depends how my body responds. I used to be able to keep myself pretty lean all the time, but I was a lot younger. So as we get older and our metabolism slowed down, who knows how it will react here. It's all going to be a bit of trial and error, and I'll be monitoring it on a weekly basis, and I'll be writing down everything that I'm consuming and monitoring all the workouts and energy levels, and we will adapt if we need to. But as I say, the key thing at the end of this week will be starchy carbs are out. They're gone. And I'll be changing from hypertrophy to muscle endurance. But the first week of that will be an active rest week. So next week will be active rest. I will change the diet up in accordance with the muscle endurance phase of training and the fat burning phase of training. But it's going to be an active rest week where I'm just going to walk every day. 20,000 steps a day, averaged across the week. The target is 140,000 steps for the week. And to walk with, a bit of intensity as well. Try and find places that I can go where there's quite a few hills, so I can really do some good work there, some good cardio work, get my heart rate up, get a sweat on. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I sweat in the middle of winter walking, and at the moment it's 27 degrees, so Celsius. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. And next week it's up in the 30s, low 30s, but this is England, so we don't see those temperatures too often. yeah, that's the plan. It's been a good week. I'm very happy to have hit the target. And now let's see if I can maybe add another kilo or so. And it's just money in the bank then. Gives me a bit more wiggle room. So if I could get myself up to 87, let's say, it's probably pipe dreams, but if I could, that gives me like 2 kilos that I could lose, and I would still be within that 85 range. So I still would have added almost 10 kilos since the beginning of this, and I would have hopefully shredded down some fat as well. But I think a more realistic expectation is that I go on holiday around probably maybe 82 and a half. Like that would be okay. That would be pretty good, I think. I just, yeah, as I said, I just don't want to lose all the weight that I've put on, because it hasn't been fat weight, it's been muscle weight, and my numbers have been, my lifting numbers have been going up and up and up and up and up every week, progressively overloading, my workouts, every single session of every single workout. I've avoided injuries, which is, that's the main thing. I've improved my mobility, and all these sort of things, I think, lend themselves to, improving your longevity, which is ultimately why I do this. It's to live healthier for longer, be stronger, be more mobile, those types of things. So, yeah, fingers crossed. The superficial goal of just getting a beach body, that is all it is. It's a superficial goal. It's not really my underlying goal. My underlying goal was to be able to, like, actually literally get out of bed in the morning and just stand up straight. That was it, so I wouldn't just feel completely restricted all day long. And every time I sat in a seat, I would be reset into that completely restricted position. So every time I stood up out of a seat, after sitting down for even just a few minutes, it was like I was almost locked at about 90% extension. I couldn't get to 100%, and I was like that for years, and it really took its toll on me mentally, because I've always just been so active in my life. So the fact that I seem to have my mobility back, and it's allowing me to exercise and train and actually, go on these runs where I'm not official running, but like go on this journey, let's say, where I've been able to do a pretty significant weight gain. I mean, it's more than 21 pounds in weight in 13 weeks. So I think that's pretty good. I don't think I've ever done that in my life. So it has surprised me. But I guess that's what happens when you really dial everything in, you do things sensibly, and you make the right changes at the right times. You can do what you need, because if I needed to lose the weight, I think it would be quite simple, really. I'd carry on doing the same type of exercises and the same approach to the exercise that I've been doing, but you just change your nutrition. You just eat less. Still have a lot of water, but you eat less. You get rid of like the majority of the starchy carbs that I'm eating at the moment, and weight will just start to drop off. So healthy eating is healthy eating, whether you're doing it for weight gain or weight loss. There's just a couple of little tweaks that need to be made dependent on what your focus is. So yeah, that's it. That's it from me this week. Have a great rest of week. Sorry this video is coming out a day or two late. And yeah, let's keep on this journey and see where we get to in the next 6 weeks, because I've still got the rest of this week to go, and then a week of active rest, and then about 4.5 weeks on the muscle endurance, where I'm going to set myself some challenges within each of the routines, and we will see. We will see if I can hit my targets, whether I can surpass them, or whether they were just pipe dreams. We will see. But have a great week. Much love, as always. And I'll be back next week for another recap. Cheers.